Got to get it where you can get it, no matter what it is.
You guys are wrong. Y'all are just wrong. I just laughed. You're wrong. You're wrong.
Holy mackerel!
All week long. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of We Got a Case. When I say we, I mean me and you, Fred, Nancy, Sharon, Rick, Loud Elvis. Of course, who could forget Dallas Alice? Good to see everybody. You know what? I jumped on maybe a few seconds early because I hate being late. There's one thing I cannot stand, and that's late for court. I have something we're going to go to really quick. This is, of course, Judge Simpson's courtroom we're looking at right now. If you're new here, we're going to be doing Zoom court. I'm going to do my best to not talk over everything that's going on. I will also do my best to pause in case I want to discuss something. I will try to keep up with the chat. But, you know, it happens. I may be able to, I may not be able to. We'll see. But we're going to jump on over to a courtroom that I was watching a little bit of it. We're very familiar with it. And introductions don't need to be made, especially when you're in the beautiful Sallyport area over here. Let me catch you up on what we've talked about. The attorneys, excuse me, and the prosecutors agree that this young lady needs help. Mental health, we'll say. Happy birthday to Roger. So, we've gotten past that. Apparently, she assaulted her mother recently. And, well, I can't pronounce that guy's name either. And, well, we're going to let it play from here. The judge has a lot to say about this. I mean, a lot. If you're having any issues hearing, let me know, because it's going to be as loud as it gets.
Person with mental health problems in the jail and just having them housed. I think getting the help is more important to a judge than sitting in jail. So we would ask the court to consider reinstating her on probation.
Thank you, Mr. Patterson. Thank you, Mr. Sweeney. As I said earlier, I did review the court files, and in it, I found the affidavit that I or someone had looked at considering the arrest back in November of 2019, where the defendant had punched her mother in the head, and the mother had a trail of blood throughout the house. And the defendant at that time told law enforcement that they could take her to jail, but she was going to win, quoting, "I promise you, you are not going to win," end quote. Also commenting to officers that she, meaning her mother, quote, "she is going to learn a lesson," end quote.
End quote. By the way, this young lady right here, the one that looks innocent, sitting here in Sallyport, fairly innocent girl, has just busted her mom's head open. Mom's leaking blood all over the place. And the daughter says it was time she got a taste of her own medicine. So judge is not done. Judge has a lot more to say.
Also, quote, "No one else has given her any kind of medicine," meaning her mother had never been given a dose of medicine that included punching. So she started punching her mother in the head.
Judge, I understand what the court is reading, but I'm not sure it's admitted into the record.
Well, it's part of the record. It's part of the official court file, and so I'm not sure what the objection is, Mr. Patterson.
And is the court reading from the affidavit or police reports?
Well, from the affidavits and the police reports, they contained the information, but primarily the affidavits supporting the arrest warrant.
Well, again, Judge, it's not admitted into the record. I would tell the court that it was on diversion. There was not testimony given at any time in this case. So that the police reports are definitely hearsay. And to consider those at any stage, I think, would be something that I would object to. And
Mr. Patterson, excuse me, she was found guilty of bench trial May 3rd of 2021. The diversion agreement says if she violates the diversion, all those records will be considered as evidence in the trial to determine if she's guilty or not guilty. You still wish to pursue that objection?
Possibly.
I do object, Judge. I just think that it would be improper to use all of those reports without having them admitted into the record for
They are part of the record, Mr. Patterson. They became part of the record at her trial.
They're not part of the record today, Judge, and I would object to the court using them. I will maintain my objection, but understand.
Mr. Patterson, there is this little rule that the court can take judicial notice of its records. And that's what the court is doing, is taking judicial notice. Your objection is noted.
Okay, and last thing, Judge, they were not in the record. I have a copy of the diversion. There are no reports attached to it. And Judge Rickey complains about that all the time, that they are not connected to it or attached to it. So they weren't part of the record at the time of the diversion revocation.
Well, if they cross-reference it, they don't have to be attached. You can read them now. And that's what we're looking at. But the point of it is, and the reason I bring this up is because I was really concerned whether the behavior I saw 2 weeks ago from this defendant was a mental illness where she was having inability to control herself, or if this is her personality and the way she looks at the world.
She's crazy, Your Honor, is what you're trying to say. And a really quick thank you and hallelujah to pass. Hallelujah. Many thanks. Kicking off the week right with the $2. This young lady apparently has problems. And Russell Brand, as Flusha said up here, he's very excited.
And so I wanted to go back and see what evidence the record contained to answer that question. Now, since then, Mr. Patterson has provided some mental health records, which the defendant was not willing to share with Ms. Donovan during her probation.
So it's either.
And then I saw these records that the
crazy
would have included and that the trial would have considered.
Mental issues, or she's
just
into
psychopath. Ms. Bartunik did December 19th of 19, and that diversion included no contact with the victim, her mother, and a list of other people, which included people who would have been present at the time of the crime, including her children. She was ordered to have no firearms, and as part of the diversion, she was to have the batterer's intervention evaluation by December 30th of 2020. That was the first order for her to get that evaluation, December 30th of 2020. She was also to get a job, pay on her case, violate no laws, and get a mental health evaluation.
She just started a job yesterday.
Kind of online course that she was supposed to take. Well, March 19th of 2021, that diversion was revoked. The court did find that she had violated her diversion, specifically that she failed to pay,
That lady is fighting with that umbrella right there. She's doing her own thing over here in the far corner. Keep an eye on her as well. Let's see what's happening there.
Complete the online program, failed to enroll in and complete either the batterer's intervention or the mental health assessment. So her diversion was revoked. Again, May 3rd of 2021, there was the bench trial. She was found guilty as charged.
Uh-oh.
The charge being domestic battery, knowing or recklessly causing bodily harm to a family or person
Fill
in
her
a
to the
dating
community.
relationship or with whom she resided, and in that case resided. She was residing with her mother. So on May 3rd of 21, she was not only found guilty, but she was sentenced to 6 months in the county jail with the grant of a 1-year probation. And
Letting people
that
slide.
probation included a list of course, not consuming alcohol and the usual standard conditions, pay all fines and costs, etc., notify the CSO of changes in employment, etc. But specifically obtain the batter's intervention program within 30 days. So she was again ordered to do it, but she was to have it done by June 3rd of 2021, over a year ago. She was told to have it done. And she was to make a minimum monthly payment of 1/2, says 1/2 the total cost starting in May, which would have been May of 2021.
She's done nothing.
Now I
Don't get in
would
trouble.
question whether that 1/2 was really a typo, that maybe it was meant 1/12, because that is certainly this court's standard. But in any event, she on May 22nd, the request was filed. Now, of course, Kansas law gives them a year to have that request filed, but it also gives them a 30-day extension to get it filed. So she was within the time of appropriately requesting revocation, Ms. Donovan, that is. And the warrant to show cause being served 6/6 of 2022 leads us to today. And the bottom line is she has had since that diversion, December 30th of 2020, to get that evaluation done. She hasn't done it. She's been ordered to do it.
Like this
By
video.
June of 2021, she didn't do it. So between the diversion and sentencing orders, she's had plenty of time to get that done. And as Mr. Sweeney says, that's very important to these types of cases. Her attitude has been such that I think not only has she had plenty of time to show remorse and correct her behavior,
Don't take her out and shoot her.
but she shows no signs of getting any better, even though she's had the benefits of
You see, Mike.
mental health since I believe it was September of 21, and she's been set up in her housing, and she's had 2 different employments since January of 21. And here we are 2-3 years into this case, and we're nowhere further along with her success. So I do find she has violated her probation. I revoke her probation. And I believe that probation would be of no benefit to her and a waste of court services time.
Thank you, Dave.
So I do remand Ms. Bartunik to the custody of the Butler County Sheriff in order to her to serve the balance of her 6-month sentence at this time. So Ms. Bartunik, you will need to go with the officers to the county jail.
Thanks for your harmful attitude.
And you're welcome.
She called her a bitch.
So we'll be in recess on Bartunik, and we will proceed.
Judge, I have somebody from DCF sitting with Laura Casey, who's needing to get back to a DCF office. Can we take up Laura Casey?
Okay, we certainly can.
Not a problem, Dave. Vinny Vineyard, Mr. Vincent.
We are on the record in 2022 TR 1068, State of Kansas versus Laura Lee Casey. Please announce appearances.
Your Honor, Brett Sweeney on behalf of the state.
Your Honor, Darren Patterson appearing on behalf of Laura Casey, and Miss Casey is present. Also present with her, I believe, is Casey Wilson through DCF, who is
Laura, can you set up as they are on?
Lane is
Who is?
biting his
The
fingernails.
attorney's ready to see you.
Yeah.
Okay. Hello.
And Judge, I spoke to Miss Casey. I would tell the court that I'm simply asking the court to order competency evaluation. I think it's an order giving what is currently going on with her. So I would ask the court to allow for an order of competency.
I believe she said, "Thank you for your hurtful or hateful some speech or something," she said, and then she called her a effing bitch after they cut the microphone. You could read her lips very clearly. Not a very happy camper. And I don't know what we've got now. Some really old lady coming in. Let's see what she's got going on.
Mr. Sweeney, I know you're not the attorney that's been with this case. I understand that this defendant does have some mental health issues. She has needed care from a neighbor or relative, and now I see that DCF is involved. And from what I have seen, I understand where the motion is coming from. Does the state have any objection with proceeding to a motion for competency on Ms.
Maybe
Casey?
harmful attitude.
No objection, Your Honor. The state takes no position on this.
Okay.
Courtney might be on
That request is granted that she be further evaluated locally at mental health to address that issue, Mr. Patterson. And do you want to set this for a date specific?
Yes, Judge, I'll prepare the order and circulate it to counsel in the court. And if we could set a review date out sometime, and I think whatever court you use in October is fine.
October 3rd of 2022.
Yes, Judge.
Mr. Sweeney, is that all right?
It is, Your Honor. Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll set this then. Thank you, Ms. Casey, and the person with you. You may go at this time.
May God go with you.
Thank you, Judge, for taking that up.
You're welcome. No problem. Do you have any, who do we have there at the Sally Port? Let's pick up the Sally Port.
Speak up, Sally.
I'm sorry, you're muted.
I could have Cordell Pinkerton in here pretty quick, and then I'll start gathering everybody up and put them outside in the Sally Port, and we take them one right after another.
Let's do Mr. Pinkerton then.
Okay.
Pinkerton. The Pinkertons will be here to take you into custody before you know it if you're not careful. Creed is on his way to New York. He's got a couple of days he's going to be up there. He won't be with us for a few days, but he will be joining
Mr. Pinkerton.
On Wednesday.
We're now on the record in 2022 TR 1869, State of Kansas versus Cordell Warren Pinkerton. Please announce appearances.
Your Honor, Brett Sweeney on behalf of the state.
Your Honor, Darren Patterson appear on behalf of Mr. Pinkerton, who does appear from the courthouse Sally Court. Judge, this is a DUI case. This is one where I believe it's going to be for plea, but he does need to get a drug and alcohol evaluation. I'm asking the court not to be continued, and I've talked to him about where to get that, and he seems to understand that he needs to get it as quickly as possible. So we'd ask the court to continue it for later plea and sentencing.
Mr. Sweeney, any recommendation when you want to do that?
Your Honor, this may be one if he doesn't have an evaluation yet, that we look at maybe the 17th date. I don't know. Mr. Patterson may have a better understanding of the turnaround time on those than I do, but that's my thought.
That give him about 60 days, Mr. Patterson, October 17th, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Let's do October 17th for sentencing. Well, it'll be for plea and sentencing, correct?
At that time, Your Honor, yes.
Okay, so October 17th, you'll need to be back here, 9 a.m. for plea and sentencing, Mr. Pinkerton.
Yes.
There's nothing further. You're continued on bond, and we'll see you at that time.
What's his shirt say? I need to see a shirt.
Thank you for your time.
Oh, I missed it. Nightmare something I said. Billie Eilish is cute. Come on now.
What you got?
That's a cute girl.
Just make sure you have your hat on. Wendell Roberts coming in. Right here, sir.
Endo Roberts. Vinny, your Alex is in front of you, so look at this old codger. What do you
Hello, sir.
Hello.
We are now on the record in 2021 TR 1919, State of Kansas versus Wendell Lynn Roberts. Please announce appearances.
Your Honor, Brett Sweeney on behalf of the state.
Your Honor, Darren Patterson appear on behalf of Wendell Roberts, who does appear at the courthouse Sallyport. And this is a case where I believe the state would offer plea negotiations to dismiss one count to plead to the other.
Okay, is Wendell having a hard time breathing, or is he eating peanut butter? I'm just very confused. He's doing a lot of smacking. Very confused.
Mr. Sweeney?
Your Honor, I'm still trying to find, we don't have the hard file, so what's the case number?
It's 21 TR 1919.
1 second.
Diabetes.
Okay, I found it. That's correct, Your Honor.
And which count are you dismissing?
The state would prefer to dismiss the speeding if you pled guilty to looks like count 2, the no valid driver's license.
And that is what I spoke to my client about, Your Honor, and he would plead guilty to that charge.
Really?
Mr. Roberts, is anyone making you enter this plea of guilty to count 2, operating a motor vehicle without a valid license?
Oh, Mark
No one's
Dreyer.
promised you anything other than this plea agreement?
No.
Okay. Do you understand that by entering this plea, you are giving up your right to a trial as well as your right to appeal conviction?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, were you operating
Yes.
a motor vehicle on August 4th of 2021 in Butler County?
Yes.
I'm sorry,
Yes.
was that out on the Kansas Turnpike, I-35?
I'm not from here. I guess it was my sister. She's coming from Fort Worth from picking me up. I don't know the area, so I guess it was. I mean, that's what the ticket says. I don't know the roads here. Sorry.
Right.
Mr. Sweeney,
Right.
do you have the road he was on?
Can get that for the court here.
The ticket says I-35, milepost 76, it looks like.
Yeah.
There's a gold mine not
That's
being
what I have as
right
well.
now.
Now, milepost 82.
I'm sorry, it was milepost 72 or 6?
Milepost 82 is what's written
Okay.
down in the comments.
Okay, well, anything between 54.4 and 96.6 covers us, so I have jurisdiction. And you were driving the vehicle, sir?
Yes. Yeah.
And did you have a valid license at the time?
No. No, she was just tired and I didn't want
Tanya's got a friend.
I wanted them for you. 8-hour drive from Fort Worth, Texas. So, I mean, we were both pretty tired. I was just, that's all I got. That's all I got for it.
All right.
Just was it trying to cause a problem or anything. Her car's just newer model. Just kind of got away with me in the speed. I mean, didn't realize I was even going that fast. And I should have been driving with a license. I was just concerned about her driving, not being able to stay on the road.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, I will accept your plea of guilty and
power,
find you
Your Honor.
guilty of count 2. Per plea agreement, I will dismiss count 2, speeding 98 and a 75. Mr. Sweeney, recommendations, if any, from the state?
Yes, Your Honor, just maybe 120-day underlying would leave it to the court's discretion on any fine imposed. And as far as probation, I think it's the court's standard recommendation, absent further information, to maybe grant non-reporting probation. So if that is the court's standard, I would ask for that as well.
Okay. Mr. Patterson, any recommendations from the defense?
Judge, we just ask court to adopt its standard sentencing on this type of charge.
Thank you. Mr. Roberts, do you have a job? Are you working?
I'm on disability.
Okay.
I've been working for 37 years and got lots of in my teeth, so I can't work anymore.
Okay. Well, I am going to send.
Did he say he's got no oxygen in his feet no more? No oxygen? Did he say no ox? Huh? Might be the weird way he's breathing.
Sentence you to 120 days suspended jail sentence.
Thank
You
you.
won't have to serve that, provided for 6 months you successfully complete a non-reporting probation.
Okay.
That has just 2 conditions. Don't violate any laws and pay your fine, which will be $108 or $100, and your court costs, which will be $108, for a total due of $208. Due to your disability, I am waiving the court-appointed attorney fees.
Okay, thank
Now,
you.
when can you get this 208 paid? Do you
Good
need
to
some
see you,
time, or can you do that
Yeah,
today?
no, I mean, no, I pretty much use my money, all my money for a living. I can afford 100 a month or 104, whatever it would take to get paid in a couple of months. I only get that on the first of the month, and
Okay.
that's it. And I live off of that. I mean,
Michelle, let's give him 120 days to pay. What do you have for pay or appear in 120 days?
Your Honor, I just want to let you know that he also has reinstatement fees on this case.
And I'm
$244.
How much?
$244.
Oh, killing this guy. The dude just said he's on.
Okay, I'm not going to impose a fine. I'm supposed to be making those a condition now, right? Have they started that yet?
Not that I'm aware of, but I don't know. I could check on that.
I'm not going to order a fine, but I am going to order that you pay 108 court costs
Diabetes.
and your $244 reinstatement fee.
Or sickle cell, maybe.
How is December 19th at 9 a.m.?
And I'm going to order you to have that paid by December 19th, 9 a.m.
okay.
So that's going to make that quite a bit more than I told you. 204 or 244 plus 208.
Ugh.
And you'll pay it right there at the courthouse. Where do you live?
I live in Emporia.
Emporia. Okay. Well, stop by the clerk's office and they can tell you the different ways of how you can pay that and where you can pay it. Looks like it's going to be $452. But yes, Michelle.
I just want to double check. Did you say there's $100 fine or no fine?
Well, I originally said $100 fine, but if I'm going to make him pay the $244 reinstatements, I'm not going to make him pay the fine.
So it'd be the $244 plus 108?
Plus 108. So I told you wrong. So that's $352, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, $352.
Hey, there we go. Now we're getting closer.
And you can make payments on that as long as you have it all paid by December 19th, or at least show me you've really made a good faith effort to pay it.
I'll pay that money. Okay, so I'll pay it in Emporia or before I come here.
Well, you can do it. You can pay here.
Say online.
Pay here at El Dorado. Okay.
Okay, got you.
All right. And if you haven't paid, you don't have to come to court. If you don't, you better be here.
Yeah, I'll do it. So I'll go
All right.
up.
Yeah, the officer will head you in the right direction.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank
Give
you. You're ready to go. We'll be in
older
recess.
guy to help out this poor guy. His unauctionated feet are barely carrying him these days.
Scott Farman.
We're now on the record in 2021 TR 2483, State of Kansas versus Scott Furman. Please announce appearances.
Your Honor, Brett Swinney on behalf of the state.
Hello, Code.
Aaron Patterson, Your Honor, appearing on behalf of Scott Furman. Mr. Furman does appear at the courthouse Sally Court, Your Honor.
Get your nap in for we got
And
a case.
in this case, Your Honor, there's one charge, driving while suspended. To that charge, Mr. Furman would enter a plea of guilty.
Mr. Furman, is that correct? You wish to plead guilty to driving while suspended?
Yes,
Mark
Your Honor.
brother.
And did this happen September 24th of 2021?
Yes, Your Honor.
You were driving a vehicle?
Yes, Your Honor.
Where were you at the time?
I was coming onto the turnpike or by the turnpike.
From what entrance?
I don't know. It was like a side road. I don't know the name of that road. It was off of 6th. I went down 6th and then turned right there before where the turnpike's at.
There in El Dorado?
Yeah, to go down 54.
Okay, so that's within Butler County. And while you were driving, was your license canceled or suspended?
So it was suspended, but I wasn't aware of it because I had another address that they had sent it to. It was my parents' address. They never notified me of it. I got pulled over because we just purchased a vehicle and it had dark tint. So we removed the tint on it like within a week after that. But yeah, I got hit with the suspended. I didn't even know I had it suspended.
Okay, but you've since found out it was suspended and the
Thank you,
notice
Sean.
went to the address you last had on your driver's license?
Yeah.
Okay. Is anyone making you enter this plea today by any kind of threat or promise?
No.
You understand that you're giving up your right to trial as well as your right to appeal conviction if you pursue this plea?
Yeah.
Does she give this guy the same leniency she gave the old timer with unoxygenated feet? I'm gonna say no, but we'll see.
I do accept the plea and find the defendant guilty. Recommendations for sentencing, if any, Mr. Sweeney?
Your Honor, apparently the court has standard recommendations. I think I'm roughly familiar with those, but I think the only thing here is there is a mandatory $100 fine, and I would point that out.
Okay. Mr. Patterson, any recommendations?
Judge, we would ask court to adopt the normal and usual orders that the court would do on this kind of case and ask the court to consider a non-reporting probation in this case.
Very well. Mr. Furman, what kind of work do you do?
I'm currently not working.
Are you able to work?
Yeah. I've got applications in.
I've got some
I had just left
irons
my
in the
job
fire,
because of my
Your
back.
Honor.
It was really hard, demanding. So I'm currently looking for a less demanding job.
I'll
Aren't
waive
we
your
all?
attorney fees, but you are ordered to pay $100 in fines and $108 in court costs. I'm going to give you a 120-day jail sentence, but I will suspend that provided you successfully complete probation for 6 months from today. Now, the probation only has basically 2 conditions. First, don't violate any laws of any kind for 6 months, or your probation can be revoked and you can serve 120 days there in the county jail. The second condition to keep you from serving that jail time is to get this 208 paid. How much time do you need to pay $208?
A month or two.
And Judge, I was chatted to by Michelle, and he also has reinstatement fees he has to pay.
Of course.
How much are they, Michelle?
$122.
Okay. I'm also going to order you to pay $122 in reinstatement fees.
You're too kind,
So
Your
you'll
Honor.
need to pay $330. When can you pay those? You think you
I
can
could
get
pay
those
that
paid
in
in 6?
a month or two.
Okay.
I could have
Let's give him 60 days
original.
out. Can you do that October 17th? Will that work for us, Michelle?
Michelle.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you have to be back here October 17th at 9 a.m. and discuss whether your probation will be revoked or not. Now, if you make that payment, you don't have to be here.
Oh, okay.
But if you don't, we'll talk about why you haven't and what impact that might have on your probation.
Okay. No,
All right.
it should be paid off by then.
Okay, stop by the clerk of the district court if you need some information on when and where and how to pay it.
Okay, guys.
Your Honor, the office is closed.
Okay, you'll have to contact them after.
We're going to jump from here and jump over to our good friends at Licking. Judge Stansberry presiding over today. Make sure you like this video if you haven't already done so. Hopping on over to Licking, where things are always just so great. Licking, everybody. Licking.
A copy of the complaint.
I did.
Did you read it? Do you understand you've been charged with assault?
Right, I did read it.
Okay, that's a first-degree misdemeanor. You face maximum penalties of 180 days jail up to a $1,000 fine. How do you want to plead?
The original 0.
Water, absolutely not guilty.
What's your current address?
It's P.O. Box 4428, Newark, and the zip in the P.O. Box is 43058.
What was the P.O. box number?
4428.
And for whatever reason, the zip code's different for a P.O. box. I'm not entirely sure why that is.
They're always on tour. And always the last one.
Let me see something here.
Go ahead. Take your time, Stansberry. Stansberry was on earlier, by the way. I caught him doing some in courtroom stuff. Not really sure what. We got a stacked docket today. Jumping all around. That guy looks like he'd be. I wouldn't want to mess with that dude. He looks kind of menacing. Slightly menacing. Just a little menacing. Kind of menacing. Good to see you, Ghost. He's got a lot of reading to do. That's never good. Lick it. Yeah, that's right. Lick it for licking. If you're not licking, what are you doing? Uh-oh.
Okay, here's what we're going to do today, Mr. John. Is it John or John's?
Johnny, last name, no, 4 letters, no S.
No S. All right, they're going to have to fix that on the complaint. I will release you on your own recognizance on the condition you have absolutely no contact, either directly, indirectly, by way of third parties, social media, et cetera, with William Butts. Now, this case will be randomly assigned to a judge set for a trial. You'll get notice by mail of when that's going to be, so make sure the address that you put down on your bond paperwork is where you want your mail to go, and if it's a P.O. box, put that on there. You're eligible to ask the court to appoint counsel to represent you at no cost. If you qualify, we would do that. You can get the application form at the jail. However, because you're being released, it'll be your responsibility to get it turned in. You can hire your own counsel too if you like, but either way, do not wait until the day of trial to deal with getting an attorney. Understand?
Yeah, and I need to do that, what, 10 days prior, or?
You need to do it 2
Now.
days ago. So get the application form when you're released, get it turned into the municipal court clerk, okay?
Municipal court clerk.
Yeah, the folks down at the jail can give you more details about where it goes, and you don't have to physically take it in. You can mail it in, you can fax it in. Just main thing is don't wait until the day of trial to say, oh, by the way, I need to get a lawyer, Judge, okay?
So again, there's paperwork I need to fill out to do that, Judge?
Yeah, and they have the form down there at the jail.
Okay.
Oh,
All right. Thank you very much, sir. You may go with the officer.
sorry, I missed that.
Glenn Jordan. Good afternoon, sir. Are you Mr. Jordan?
Yes.
And Mr. Jordan, do you understand your rights in court today?
I do.
You have 2 separate cases. You have a traffic case and you have a criminal case. Did you get a copy of the traffic ticket?
Yes. Yes.
Did you read it? You understand you've been charged with both operating a vehicle while impaired, as well as operating a vehicle while impaired and refusing to submit to a chemical test with a prior OVI conviction within 20 years.
Yes.
And you've also been charged with not having functioning taillights. How do you want to plead to those charges?
Not guilty.
There's a lot of charges there.
What's your current address?
217 South Main Street, Granville, 43023.
Are you employed?
No.
Yes.
What do you do?
I work for the state of Ohio.
In what capacity?
I work in disability.
Gotcha.
He works for the state of Ohio in disability. Yeah, his voice is pretty spot on. Good stuff. Brother. Well, it's like they're running off paperwork. I was not expecting this guy to have such a.
All right. Okay, in the
Good
criminal
job.
case, you've been charged with a single count of endangering children. Did you get a copy of that complaint?
It's just on this traffic.
Yeah, on the piece of white paper that's folded in 3.
Yeah, endangering children on there. Yes.
So you read that. You understand that's the charge on that?
Yes.
Okay, that's an M1. So first degree misdemeanor. It is up to 180 days, up to $1,000 fine. How do you wish to plead?
Not guilty.
Could be. Because I'm breaking legs. Yeah, that's not a good thing to get arrested, but a lot of times jobs like government jobs, city jobs, things like that, union
One
jobs.
of those charges on the traffic, I think, is probably going to have to get dismissed. The unofficial BMV records that I'm looking at indicate that your conviction in 2002 was on June the 12th, and they're alleging that this offense occurred
Correct.
over the weekend,
Yes.
I think, right? Yeah,
Yes.
August the 12th. Well, until and unless they do, you've got that charge still pending as well. On both of these cases, Mr. Jordan, I'm going to release you on your own recognizance. You'll be notified by mail of your next court date. These cases right now are not consolidated, meaning right now they're not officially joined together, but I think it's very likely that they will be. You have the right to go hire counsel of your choosing. You have the right to apply for court-appointed counsel, and you can get the application form at the jail, but they will not turn it in for you because you're being released. If you want to get a lawyer, that's fine, but don't wait until day of trial to do that.
No.
Understand?
I understand. Yes.
Do you have any other questions today?
I do not.
You may go with the officer. Thank you, Mr. Jordan.
Thank you. Thank you.
Like I was saying, it's hard to get fired from some of these jobs, man.
Scott Clanforth. Are you Mr. Clanforth?
Yes.
Hey, Mr. Clanforth, do you understand your rights in court today? Did you receive a copy of the complaint?
Yes. Well,
Yeah. Did you read that? Do you understand what you've been charged with?
Fourth degree.
Yeah. Disorderly conduct is a misdemeanor of the fourth degree. The sheriff is alleging that on or about August the 12th of this year within Licking Township, Licking County, Ohio, that you recklessly caused inconvenience, annoyance, or alarm to another by creating a condition that is physically offensive to persons or that presents a risk of physical harm to person by any act that serves no lawful and reasonable purpose after a reasonable request to desist. As I said, that's just a long-winded way of saying disorderly conduct. Fourth degree misdemeanor carries up to 30 days jail, up to a $250 fine. How do you wish to plead?
Not guilty.
And your current address, sir?
6630 Hill Road, Canal, Winchester.
What's your zip over there?
Hell Road.
43110.
Are you employed?
I own Clanford Incorporated.
You own a company, is that what you said?
Correct.
Okay. And what kind of business is it?
It's landscape management construction.
Gotcha. How long have you been in business for yourself?
30 years.
Woo.
All right, let me take a quick look here.
This guy is.
The property that this took place at.
Well, let's hold off on making any statements just for the moment. All right, bear with me. I'm going to take a quick look at the file. Then we're going to talk about your bond.
Thank you.
This guy is. I mean, I don't know if you can see when he came in, he got like one crazy hair. Like crazy looking. Oof, hold on a second. Look at that. I mean, if that's not him, come on, man. Come on. That dude. Woo-wee. Woo-wee. That dude. He looks like somebody I've seen before in like a horror movie.
Bear with me one moment.
Landscaping, the job of kings. Why are so many criminals in the landscaping and the beautiful construction business? Is it work anyone can get? I'm guessing. Yes, he is a goblin. He's one of them pink goblins. Yes, 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 yes. That is completely
Okay, here's what we're going to do, Mr. Clanforth. I'm going to go ahead and release you on your own recognizance on the condition that you have absolutely no contact with Melissa Stevens. This case will be randomly assigned to a judge and set for a trial. Until and unless an attorney gets involved, all notices will be sent directly to you. So make sure the address on the bond that you'll sign down there is complete and correct. You can hire counsel if you like. You're eligible to ask the court to appoint an attorney to represent you, which we would do if you qualified based upon your income and your expenses. But the key takeaway point on all this is if you're going to get a lawyer, don't wait until the day of trial to do it. Understand?
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions today?
None.
You may go with the officer, Mr. Clanforth. Thank you.
His entrance was amazing, though. I mean, just the look was.
Troy Manson.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Mr. Manson. Mr. Manson, you're here because Judge George has issued warrants for your arrest in these 3 cases, and what we're going to do today is set bonds for you so you can go back and see Judge George and get these matters resolved. It looks like let's see, one is from June of last year. Let's see here.
What was the one of June from, or for?
It might all be from June. I don't know. Let me take a quick look here.
Because I was here and then got to know our bond went and I did some community service from you from the past for driving on suspension charges, that and the other, and then was waiting on a court-appointed attorney and nothing ever come and never heard anything back about it. Never heard from an attorney. I ended up having to move and I changed my address, but no mail ever, I guess mail continued to go to the old address, and that guy, I guess, just threw it all away. That's basically what he told me with all the mail that he ever got for me. So
what is your current address, Mr. Manson?
137 Fox Chase Drive, Newark.
What's the name of the street?
Fox Chase, 2 words.
Is that Drive, Avenue, Street? What?
Yes, Drive.
You say that's a Newark address?
Moving.
Yes, sir.
You actually live there, or do you use that as a mailing address?
I actually stay there, yes.
And whose house is it?
Grandma's.
Gotcha. Are you employed?
Nope.
Self-employed, yes.
And what do you do?
Building ground swimming pools, a little bit of general construction work.
Self-made man. I thought he was Jeremiah Johnson for a minute. Nate, good to see you, brother.
All right. It looks like you did have, so there are 3 cases here. There are 2 criminal cases, and then there's a traffic case. The traffic case, you're charged with an unclassified misdemeanor, driving under a license forfeiture, a seatbelt violation, and an equipment violation. On that case, there's no possible jail time associated with any of those charges. You never had a lawyer on those cases. However, your other 2 cases, in 20 CRB 1129, there's a single count of domestic violence and misdemeanor of the 1st degree. And in case number 20 CRB 1078, again, it's charge of domestic violence, misdemeanor of the 1st degree. You did have attorneys on both of those cases, in fact, but they withdrew. So if you want to get a lawyer, you have to fill out a new application. Understand?
Yes, I do believe I do need a lawyer. I mean, like I said, I was not guilty on both those cases. And I mean, like I said, I applied for a lawyer, and and even on the traffic case, remember I had to come back to see you for a contempt charge for community service hours that weren't done, and I got them done. And I come back in to go to court for that driving under suspension charge or driving under forfeiture charge, and I handed Vanessa the community service paperwork, and I was supposed to go to court right after that. And she told me to get out of here, leave before I changed my mind, is what she said. So I don't know,
All righty. Anything else you want to say about bond before I go ahead and set it?
No, Your Honor.
He's trying to keep the oxygen in his feet, Your Honor. The floor's heated.
Where were you yesterday when you got arrested?
Planet Fitness parking lot.
Okay, up on Dio Drive?
Yes, sir.
And how did you come into contact with the police for them to discover that you had warrants?
I was walking through the parking lot, and I had walked over to the old Kroger's building, over to TSC in Austin. I walked back. I was walking over to the Duke, and somebody said I looked suspicious. So
Rachel profiling.
All right.
I know the cops come rolling up on me, and I gave them my name and everything, and they said, "Well, you got a warrant?" I said, "Oh well, awesome."
Well, I'll tell you what is actually awesome is that you didn't lie about who you were, because had you done that, we'd be talking about the new falsification charge, and you certainly don't need that. Let me see something here. Okay. So on the traffic case, the one that doesn't carry any jail time, I'll release you on your own recognizance. Now, when it's a different judge's case, I will typically defer to that judge based on what they set the bond at when they issue the warrant, because it's their case, and they put that on as a reason. So I'm going to defer to Judge George on your cases as well. For each of the domestic, the cases with the domestic violence charge, he set a bond of $2,500, cash surety or 10%. So I will leave it in that amount. As I said earlier as well, this will be sent back to Judge George for new court dates until and unless you get an attorney. All notices are going to go to you. You can fill out an application for court-appointed counsel down at the jail. They can assist you with that. If you're not going to be able to post your bonds and you're not going anywhere, they should forward that application down here for you. You do post your bonds and you get out. It's your job to do that, but don't wait until the day of trial to make arrangements to get a lawyer. All right?
All right, so there's no chance of getting out on OR?
I can't. I'm not going to do it today because, like I said, if the shoe were on the other foot, I'd want Judge George to set the bonds like I had them on my warrants. So, yeah, I'm not going to do an OR today. You can petition him to reduce it, but that'll be up to him. Any other questions?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Manson. Good luck to you.
Yeah.
Robert McCormick.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Right here.
Good afternoon, Mr. McCormick. Do you understand your rights in court today?
I do, sir.
And did you receive a copy of the 2 complaints that were filed against you?
I just have one complaint, that the misdemeanor first degree.
Go ahead and open that up. I think you'll find that there are 2 pieces of paper there.
Okay.
Yeah, he would never step on the other judge's bounds.
Is that the disorderly conduct?
That's correct. So it's alleged that these offenses occurred on August the 12th within the city of Patasklan in Lincoln County, Ohio. One charge alleges that you knowingly caused or attempted to cause physical harm to a family or household member. That's the domestic. That's an M1. That's up to 180 days in jail, up to a $1,000 fine. The disorderly, they're alleging that on that same date, same location, that you recklessly caused inconvenience, annoyance, or alarm to another by engaging in fighting and threatening harm to persons or property, or in violent or turbulent behavior, and didn't stop or cease after a reasonable request to do so. That's a 4th-degree misdemeanor. That carries up to 30 days jail, up to a $250 fine. How do you wish to plead to the 2 charges today?
Well, I thought it was just the one charge, but I wanted to plead guilty to the one charge, is what I was instructed to do so.
Who instructed you to plead guilty?
Who said that?
Well, that was just in the courtroom here setting. She told us that I was supposed to get out on my own ORC. This is my first time ever doing anything like this, or ever getting into a family ruckus with my son. And, I'm obviously been working at the same job for 20 years. I've never had any assault, or have I ever thrown a punch on anybody. So I didn't realize there was more than one. I thought it was just
let's go ahead and do not guilty pleas on both of these. That'll leave all your options open. You decide you want to plead guilty your next court date, you can do that. But this way, if you decide you don't want to do that, then you're not locked into it. What is your current address?
It's 241 Rona Boulevard.
City and state?
That's going to be Pataskla, Ohio, 43062.
You said you've been working at the same job for, I think you said 20 plus years. Where do you work?
20 years. I'm the manager at Aaron's in Reynoldsburg, Ohio, sir.
Oh, a rip-off.
Have you always worked at that location?
I've been there since 2008, actually, and I stayed with the company the whole time. So, but yeah, 2008 at that location, and then I ran a couple other locations for the business.
Aaron's. What a joke that place is. We're in the business of ripping people off, Your Honor.
All right. Well, Mr. McCormick, I am going to release you on your own recognizance on one condition, and that is that you not have any violent contact with any family or household member. So I'm not saying you can't have contact with Matthew, but If it gets physical again, even if you don't get charged, your bond could get revoked and you could be held in the jail until the case were ready for trial. Now, this will be randomly assigned to a judge, set for trial. Until and unless you get an attorney, all notices will go directly to you. So make sure the address on your bond paperwork that you're about to sign down there is correct. You can hire counsel if you like. You can go for court appointed, meaning we will give you one for free if you qualify based upon your income and your expenses. The application form is available to you at the jail, but since you're being released, they are not going to send that in for you. That would be your responsibility. If you don't want to get a lawyer, you don't have to worry about any of this. But if you do want to get one, deal with it well before the next time you're supposed to be in court. Understand?
Absolutely. Yes,
All
sir.
right. So, any other questions today, Mr. McCormick?
No, sir. Thank you.
All right. Very well. You may go with the officer.
Should be a rough time at home.
William Palmer.
A ruckus with his son.
Good afternoon, sir. You Mr. Palmer?
Afternoon, sir.
All right. And you are Mr. Palmer, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Palmer, did you understand your rights based on watching that video presentation?
Yeah, I know why I'm here, sir.
Well, because the Newark Police Department alleges that on or about July the 1st of this year, within the city of Newark and Licking County, Ohio, that you knowingly caused another to believe that you would cause physical harm to that person or a member of their family. Now, that's commonly known as menacing. It is a misdemeanor of the 4th degree. The penalties range up to 30 days in jail, up to a $250 fine. So that's the charge. It looks like they're alleging some sort of a road rage incident. So that being said, how do you want to plead?
I ain't even got notice in the mail, Your Honor. A cop come to my door, asked about some stuff. Didn't pertain to any of this thing, but you know.
Well, here's what I'll tell you. It was mailed out by summons. It does not appear as though it came back to us, so I don't know what happened there. But yeah.
What address did it go to? Do you have an address where it went? Or a P.O. box?
50. Wait. I think it's 158 West Locust.
Okay, that is my address, apartment C, but I never received nothing, Your Honor.
Yeah, it doesn't have it doesn't have an apartment number there, so maybe you never got it. The long and the short
I never
of it
got
is-
it.
Yeah,
Exactly,
so-
I never got it.
So are you saying
I
that
never got
the
it.
police showed up to your house yesterday and said you got a warrant?
No. This was a few weeks ago. A cop come and asked me some questions. We talked. He said, okay. We made a report. He said, we're going to make a report or whatever. And that was it. They never said exactly what it was for. You know what I mean?
Where did you get arrested this time?
I was on my way to work. I got a flat tire waiting for AAA. My hazards were on. So the sheriff was on the other side of the road, going the opposite way. Was going eastbound, I guess. And went down, turned around, whatever. Stopped, asked me the case. I said, I got a flat tire, went for AAA. He ran my name, asked for a license, and okay, here you go. You know, no problem. You know, I'm was waiting for the AAA, got a flat tire. So he come back, the AAA guy just got there. He said, you need to come with me, you got a warrant for your arrest. I was like, what? He said stalking. I'm like, okay, news to me.
It's menacing. They're claiming, yeah, like I said, they're claiming you threatened the person that you would hurt. Anyway, long story short, I will release.
I'm 48. I'm not going to threaten nobody. I'm too old. You know what I mean? We're doing this stuff right here, man. You know what I mean?
Well, here's the deal. I'm going to release you on your own recognizance today. The case will be randomly assigned to a judge set for trial. You can hire an attorney if you like. You can go for court-appointed counsel and get an application from the jail. But since you're being released, if you are going to go for court-appointed counsel, it's your job to turn it in and do it well before the trial date. You have any other questions?
Will you make sure you put apartment C on there for when they mail the summons?
You're going to sign off on bond paperwork at the jail in order to be released. In the upper left-hand corner will be the address. Make sure that it's current and complete, including your apartment. All right?
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Palmer. You may go with the officer.
I'm only
Colin
29 years old, Your Honor. I'm in trouble.
Good afternoon, sir. Are you Mr. Parton?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Parton, do you understand your rights in court today?
All-star
Yes,
cast.
Your Honor.
Did you receive a copy of your traffic ticket?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Did you read it? Do you understand what it is you've been charged with?
Driving with a suspended license.
Yeah, and they're claiming that the suspension was for an OBI conviction. And so for that reason, that charge is a misdemeanor of the 1st degree, carries up to 180 days jail, up to a $1,000 fine, and a license suspension of up to 1 year. There are, however, mandatory minimum penalties with this type of a charge. And those include a fine of at least $250, a license suspension of at least 1 day, and at least 3 actual days in the county jail. Unlike the OBI, there's no alternative to that. That's the mandatory minimum. All right. Well, let me make sure you haven't been convicted of the same thing within the previous.
Well, while he's looking, let me remind everyone we do this 5 days.
Yeah, you're good there. Okay.
We would love
so
your likes,
how do you want to plead?
licks, loves.
No, I'll plead guilty, Your Honor. I knew I was on the wrong. I shouldn't have been driving.
Okay. Now, you have the right to an attorney. If you couldn't afford one, we'd give you one at absolutely no cost. Was it your intention to give up that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Even without a lawyer, you're presumed to be innocent. The state still has the burden of proof. You have a right to a trial with the judge or jury. Understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
You have a right to cross-examine your accusers. You have a right to compel the attendance of your own witnesses at trial. You have a right not to testify. Nobody can make you. And if you didn't, it wouldn't be held against you. Do you understand all that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, by pleading guilty, you admit that you committed the offense. That means the state doesn't have to prove anything. You'll waive those rights. We'll proceed to sentencing, and it'll be over today. Understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Have you been threatened in any way or promised anything to get you to do what you're doing?
No, Your Honor.
Are you under the influence of anything right now?
No, Your Honor.
And are you a citizen of the United States of America?
Yes, Your Honor.
All righty. So, you live out in the country. Why were you driving?
I was going to pick up some money that I had earned from a local friend for working for him for a day.
Say drug
deal. Now that money's going to go to us, right?
Drug
Yes,
deal.
Your Honor.
Drug deal.
Were you at least on your way back from getting your money?
No, I was on the way to get it because he was up at Hereford Fair.
Aha. What do you normally do for a living?
Well, right now I'm doing tree work.
Okay.
But normally I'm doing construction or concrete.
Gotcha. Well, if there's a silver lining in any of this for you, it's the fact that you got arrested Friday evening, because what that means is you've been in jail for the 3 days that I'm required to, at the very least, sentence you to. And that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and impose a 3-day jail term, give you credit for time served, and I'm also going to impose the minimum fine of $250 plus the court costs. I am required to suspend your license for at least 1 day, and that's how long the suspension will be. Now, according to this, your suspension on the underlying OVI is up in November. The only real practical effect of this suspension that I'm imposing on this is that you'll have to pay another reinstatement fee. Okay.
So another $475, right?
I don't think it's the same amount as an OVI suspension reinstatement, but I wouldn't swear to it. You can find that out on the BMV website. But either way, I'm not putting you on probation. I'm not going to keep you in jail any longer. 3 days time served, $250 fine, 1 day license suspension effective today. Any questions?
No, Your Honor.
Very well. You may go with the officer, Mr. Parton. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sarah Scholl.
Sarah Shaw. Oh, Sarah.
Good afternoon, Ms. Scholl. You understand your rights today?
Yes, sir.
And Ms. Scholl, you're here because I issued a warrant for your arrest and you failed to appear for a hearing. So all we're going to do today is simply set a bond, and then we're going to go ahead and proceed on this case. Let's see here. What is your current address?
929 Pleasantville Road.
Oh, she's hot.
Am I permitted to go ahead and plead guilty, Your Honor?
Not today. You said 929 Pleasantville Road?
Yes.
Okay, fine. And what city and state is that?
Let her plead.
Lancaster, Ohio.
And what's your zip down there?
43130.
Are you employed?
I am not, Your Honor. I was actually in a pretty traumatic car accident back in April. And I'm going to be looking for employment, but I'm waiting to see a position so I can get cleared.
Cleared.
What kind of work do you normally do?
Waitress, and I work for a landlord and work on apartments and so on and so forth.
And do you do that in exchange for rent, like basically being able to live on one of the properties?
I have in the past, or it's been for money. It's been either or.
All right. Is there anything you want to say about bond before I set it?
That's what it sounds like, Ghost.
I
exchanged
No, Your Honor. I can't plead guilty, so this doesn't continue.
Well, we're going to go ahead and set it for another hearing. At one point in the proceedings, there was an order for a psychological evaluation. That never took place. And so what I want to do is I want to get an attorney. Well, you have an attorney,
Yes.
Ms. Green, and see how she wants to proceed. I'll make sure she gets a copy of the entry that I'm putting on today so she knows that you're in custody down there so she can speak with you. All right?
I spoke with her last evening, and actually, the reason I missed the last thing is because I was incarcerated in Fairfield County. I am set for counseling at New Horizons as soon as I'm released, and probation in Lancaster. So that is mental health counseling. They did an assessment at the Fairfield County Jail.
Okay.
And between that and the medical issues, I was hoping to get all that started.
All right. Well, we need to get this taken care of first. It's a pretty old case, and there have been some issues with you appearing, or frankly, not appearing when you're supposed to. Now, when I issued the warrant for your arrest, this most recent occasion, I set bond at $25,000, cash surety or 10%. I'm going to go ahead and leave bond in that amount in order that the matter be rescheduled for a hearing in front of me with notice to Ms. Green. She'll get the notice. She'll let you know. If you're unable to post that bond, we will get you transported over here for that next hearing. Any other questions today?
No, Your Honor.
All right. You may go with the officer. Thank you, Ms. Scholl. I'll see you at your next court date.
Thank you.
Whoa. Stop the clock.
Kevin Smith.
Kevin Smith. No. Kevin Smith, everybody.
Good afternoon, sir. Are you Mr. Smith?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Smith, you understand your rights in court today?
Yes, sir.
All right. You're here because I very recently issued a warrant for your arrest about 2 weeks ago when you failed to appear for your jury trial on this telecommunication harassment charge. So what we're going to do today is we're going to simply set a bond for you, and we're going to get a new court date. Looks like you have an attorney, Mr. Barth. So
I would like to tell you personally that the reason I didn't get that is because I recently switched addresses. Like I moved into my new place, and I didn't switch all that stuff over, so I didn't get any of the papers for my new court date, and the attorney never got a hold of me.
Well, how can you know if he didn't get a hold of you if you weren't getting your mail?
Uh-oh. How can I what?
How can you know he never tried to get a hold of you if you weren't getting your mail?
I'm saying I never got my mail from the courts.
Yeah.
Therefore, I was never told who my attorney was.
Let's see here.
I remember being here and asking for an attorney, but I was never issued an attorney until after the fact.
Yeah, well, counsel was appointed on June the 16th upon your application. You gave the address, you put down on your bond paperwork, the address 58 Jefferson Street. If that changed, that's your responsibility to notify the court. We would have no idea that you moved.
I understand. It has changed also.
What is your address?
93 Burr Avenue, apartment B.
Burt, B-U-R-T?
B-U-R-T.
Say it again.
B-U-R-T.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Burt.
Apartment what? What's the apartment number?
Apartment B.
B as in boy?
Yep.
Are you employed?
Yes, sir.
What do you do?
I do subcontracting through Acuprom Buckeye Lake.
He does it all.
And I'm also supposed to start working out at Hope Timber.
He said he was acupuncturist.
I was supposed to start this week, but I got locked up.
Where were you when you got arrested?
Where was I?
Yeah.
I was out on 79 at the Chase Bank.
Okay. And what caused you to have contact with the police for them to figure out you had a warrant?
My ex actually came rolling in the parking lot, and they told me they had an anonymous caller call them and tell them my whereabouts, but they wouldn't tell me who or why. It was my ex, because I remember seeing her, 5 minutes before they rolled up on me and told me to get out of the car when I wasn't even driving the car. I wasn't even, I had no reason.
Sure. All right. So here's the deal. When I issued the warrant for your arrest, I set the bond at $5,000 cash surety or 10%, or cash or surety only. I'm going to modify that a little bit. I'm going to OR you, but I will set bond at $1,000 cash surety, and I will make it a 10% bond, so you can post 10% with the clerk, get most of it back when the case is over. Now, I'm going to make sure that Mr. Barth, your attorney, gets a copy of this entry so he knows that that you were arrested on the warrant and that the case is now active again, you can get the contact information for your attorney from the court, or by calling the clerk's office or simply looking it up online. But the main thing is, you got to be a little proactive as far as making sure that.
Is there a way I can resolve all this right now?
Not today, no. For a number of reasons. But if you decide you want to change your plea to guilty or no contest at the next court date, you can do that as well. But until such time, unless you're able to post the bond, you'll be held. If you get convicted and sentenced and serve any jail term, this time will count. So it's not dead time. But other than that, do you have any other questions?
No, sir.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Smith. You may go with the officer.
Kevin Smith, everybody. Good to see Kevin.
Stanley Tony. Good afternoon, sir. Are you Mr. Tony?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Tony, do you understand your rights in court today?
Yes.
Did you receive a copy of the complaint that was filed against you?
Yes, falsification, sir.
Yeah, falsification. It is a first-degree misdemeanor. Carries up to 180 days jail, up to a $1,000 fine. How do you want to plead to that charge?
Guilty, sir.
All right. Now, you have the right to be represented by an attorney. If you couldn't afford one, we'd give you one for absolutely free if you qualified. Was it your intention to waive your right to a lawyer today?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
You're presumed to be innocent. The state has the burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt, and you have a right to a trial with a judge or a jury, whether you have a lawyer or not. Understand?
Yes, sir.
You have the right to cross-examine your accusers. You have a right to compel or require your own witnesses to attend the trial so that they might testify in your favor. And you have a constitutional right not to take the witness stand. Nobody could force you to testify. And if that was your choice, it wouldn't be held against you at all. Understand?
Yes, sir.
Now, plea of guilty is a complete admission of guilt, Mr. Tony. By submitting that plea, you admit to committing this offense. Therefore, the state no longer has any burden of proof, and you'll give up those other rights that we've just discussed, and I'll simply impose sentence upon you today. Understand?
Yes, I told him the wrong name, Your Honor.
Okay, that's fine. Have you been threatened in any way or promised anything to get you to do this?
No, sir.
Are you under the influence of anything right now?
No, sir.
And are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, sir.
Now, without even opening the file yet, but having looked at the jail roster, noting that apparently you've got possible felony revocation, did you give him a false name when you first encountered the police?
Yes, sir.
How long did it take him to figure out who you really were?
About 5 minutes.
So not too long, right? All right. And you got arrested on yesterday, correct?
Tony.
Yes, sir.
All right. Almost technically today. It was like right around midnight?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
After midnight, Tony likes to let it all hang out.
What do you want felony paper for?
A charge for possession.
Okay. Have they set a bond for you on your felony PV?
Not that I know of, sir, Your Honor.
I mean, you would have seen the magistrate before they set a bond. So am I the first person you've seen dressed like this?
Yes.
Okay. Well, they'll probably see them either later today or tomorrow. On this case, I'll impose a $150 fine and cost, sentence you to serve 1 day in jail, give you credit for time served. Any questions?
Yeah, no, Your Honor.
All right. You may go with the officer. Thank you, Mr. Tony. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Alicia Wiley.
It's pronounced Whaley, you asshole.
Good afternoon. Are you Miss Wiley?
Yes, sir.
Miss Wiley, you are here because I issued a warrant for your arrest when you failed to appear. Well, actually, Judge George did on the most recent occasion. You have a single charge here. Originally, they charged you with driving under 12-point suspension, which is bad because that carries mandatory jail time. But then they amended it to failure to reinstate, which is good because there's no jail time. Now, you can stand on your plea of not guilty if you like, and we can reschedule this for a trial after I set a bond for you. Or if you like, you can resolve it today by changing your plea to guilty or no contest. What do you want to do?
When guilty said no jail time, they're just giving my fines and be done with?
Yeah, the maximum penalties that you face are some community service hours, a fine of up to $1,000, and up to a 1-year suspension of your license.
I'll go ahead and plead guilty just to get it over with.
Okay. Now, you know you don't have to do that. You have a right. You're presumed to be innocent. The state has the burden of proof. You have a right to a trial. If you plead guilty, you admit you did it. They don't have to prove anything, and there won't be a trial. Understand?
Hey, baby.
And are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, sir.
All right. Very good. Anything you want to say about why it's taken us almost a year to the day to deal with this?
I've been going through it. I've lost my house, everything, and every time I try to come get settled, something happens. And honestly, I skip my mind, and I want it over with as quick as possible. So if I could get
Good.
it and move
Well, that
on.
makes two of us. Are you settled down now?
Not yet, but trying to be.
Okay. Do you work? Are you employed?
I have an interview tomorrow, so hopefully.
Where's the interview?
It's for family shopping on Hebron.
What's it? Oh, Samuel Strapping. Okay.
See you, Carol.
Alrighty, let's take a quick look here and see if you've got any priors. There's one.
There's one.
Just the one. All right, so I'm giving you a little bit of a late penalty. So it's going to be $150 in court costs.
Okay.
As far as your suspensions are concerned, it looks like
Lost my hand.
none of them are active anymore. It looks like all you have is a reinstatement fee. So you're actually not that far away from being able to get your driver's license. I'm not imposing a suspension of your right to apply as part of your sentence. By the way, that Lexus, that had insurance on it, right?
Yes, it did.
Wow, good for her.
Then I will reflect that that's been satisfied, so you won't be facing a suspension from the Bureau of Motor Vehicles. That being said, you'll be given time to pay off your fines and your costs. If your address changes, well, what is your address?
32 Scioto Drive, apartment E, East Ohio.
Okay, and are you using that as a mailing address?
Yes.
Who actually lives there?
Well, it's my address for the time being, yes.
Okay, fair enough. All correspondence will go to the address that you put on file when you do your paperwork today. If that changes, and you still owe money, got to contact the clerk and let them know so that they can send you stuff. Any other questions today?
No, that's it.
All right, you may go with the officer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck to you.
No problem without a license. It doesn't matter.
appreciate that.
They'll take your money.
Terrence Hill.
Mr. Hill's going to go tomorrow.
Okay, well, you can see Judge George then.
Yep.
I hear Judge George is the meaner one. Thank you, Sue. You have a great week. I'll see you next Monday.
See you next week. Thank you.
Court stands adjourned.
Court stands adjourned. And you know what? Probably us. We're going to watch just a little bit more of Dis and Her. And then we're going to get on out of here. We're going to call it a day. Mini Chase Monday coming up. We got a chase. I don't know why there is no volume on this. This is very annoying. So annoying. Oh, I know why. Mikey, you're an idiot.
You said the first part of November, Mr.
Please, Your Honor.
Okay. But we better have it signed, sealed, everything done that needs to be.
Signed, sealed, delivered. I'm yours.
Michelle, can you give me a date in November?
November 7th at 9 a.m.
Okay, November 7th at 9 a.m. Now, don't forget about that, Miss Davis.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
And Michelle, could you fix my notes? I think that June 27th says for sentencing. I think it was supposed to be for plea and sentencing.
Yes, Your Honor.
And if you could show this next one is for plea and sentencing as
By
well.
Sue. I didn't know Sue was
Okay.
saying hi and bye.
Or diversion. Okay. Nothing further. We'll be in recess at this time.
Is Jennifer pregnant? Jennifer
Pick up
Davis?
Mark Dyer.
I thought she was pregnant, by the
We're on the record in 2022 CR 131, State of Kansas versus Mark Joseph Dyer. Mr. Dyer, can you start your audio and video?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Appearances.
Appearances are frightening.
Your Honor, Darren Patterson, appear on behalf of Mark Dyer. Mr. Dyer does appear via Zoom audio visual.
Your Honor, Brett Sweeney on behalf to say it.
What's on his
Judge, this is a case where I haven't received the KBI yet, and I don't know if they've been sent or what the status is of those, but we're not going to proceed until I have a copy of the KBI report, Judge.
Okay, Mr. Sweeney, your response?
I've been in contact with the KBI, not specifically on this case, but generally, and I would think that they would be completed on this case, all things being equal. So I'll probably have to run it through our system. And assuming that we have that, we'll get that forwarded over to defense counsel and hopefully we can make some progress.
I know the KBI is really slow these days, but this goes back to February 14th. So hopefully they've done them, but
I
who
would think
knows?
so.
You mean
All
Mark?
right, so we'll set this over. How far do you want to set it over? Any recommendations?
Wow, that's a
October
big
24th?
bandage. He
Probably
writes on
Richard
there.
Sweeney. I don't know.
Yeah, October 24th is fine, Your Honor.
Okay, October 24th.
24th.
Yes, you'll need to be back here October 24th at 9 a.m., Mr. Dyer, but be in touch with your attorney. Make sure he knows how to get
And
a
a
hold of
doctor,
you.
for God's sakes.
Yes, ma'am.
Real cranky if he comes in here October 24th and says he hasn't heard from you and can't find you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, there's nothing further. We'll be in recess on Dyer.
A million different things.
Ezekiel Thank you.
Aye, aye, Captain
Ezekiel
Dryer.
Rizzo will be on the record. Case number 2021 CR 336, State of Kansas versus Ezekiel Santana Rizzo. Please announce appearances.
Your Honor, Brett Sweeney on behalf of the state.
Your Honor, Darren Patterson appearing in behalf of Ezekiel Rizzo, who does appear via Zoom audio visual.
Rizzo
And
Palazzo.
Judge, this is a case where we're needing a drug and alcohol evaluation. And at this point, I don't have a copy of one. So I need to ask Mr. Rizzo if he has started working on getting.
Frank Rizzo, everybody. We're going to go ahead and bounce on out of here. Definitely an interesting day. Lots of cast of characters. Yeah, Frank Rizzo, right? Frank Rizzo. Don't forget, we got this 5 days a week, usually starting around 1 p.m. Eastern time. We Got a Case. If you haven't already subscribed to the We Got a Case only channel on YouTube, we'd appreciate it if you did so. Also, a like, even though it's after the fact. Likes mean so much. They help us out tremendously. So please take a second and do that. We're going to be back at 105 Sizzle Chest. 105. And we're going to be doing Mini Chase Monday. A lot of great stuff. I mean, it's just going to be me today. But I feel like I've got a good card for you. We'll see. Card is subject to change. Make sure you're there for that. Anything else, Creed? Doesn't seem like it.
Isn't happy hour anytime?
Yes, Johnny, it is. Until next time, which will be at 4 or 5 if you're a fan. If you're not a fan, just spin around. We'll see you. Thank you for your patronage and your kindness. Thank you. This just in from the guys in the truck. Creed has made it to Virginia, and it is hoodie weather. I repeat, hoodie weather. Hoodie weather.